So we are continuing with Photos 101 Japan, Hey Girls. This is episode 7. It's the continuation with the position battles. Last week we saw 4 position battles and there are 6 left in the remainder here. And so let's just get into it. First team up is Team Uchiro with Keiko, Rinan, and Tsukushi. They are performing with their own lyrics. And so Legion, Kai Charmina. Rinan, during this, she was kind of asking for more lines, but then she was also kind of struggling with rhythm. Later on, Charmina does show up. And something kind of funny happens with this team, because they get their performance in every kind of instance of them singing with the background music muted because of copyright content. No. We work with a lot of different copyright issues on this channel, and Japan usually gives us the most grief because anything can happen. You can just be completely blocked, or if something weird happens that your video will not be viewable in Japan. Sometimes it's something else where your video is not viewable anywhere but Japan, and so I have no idea why they choose one way or the other. But in this case, it seems like, at least for the full episode, the producers wanted to avoid anything happening with this English version of the show. So Charmina, during this, she gives Leon advice to be authentic, because Leon is kind of struggling here. She doesn't have the vibe of the kind of the typical Gerber. And so Leon basically says, try to be more kind of sexy and demure. And then I was wondering if they were going to have a different backing arrangement to avoid the copyright thing, but they didn't. But anyways, they get to the performance, and I hated it because I couldn't hear anything. At the same time, I was just joking there. I did go to see the performance on YouTube. And so, in my opinion, based on the performance I saw on YouTube, they had a fun, commanding vibe. Tsukushi fit the standard rock vibe pretty good, I feel like. Rinan, choosing to go with a more demure style, it worked for her really well. And I feel like she did a good job. Keiko, I feel like she sounded like she normally does when she does anything, but just slightly more aggressive. But other than that, I feel like the performance was good. There were times when it seemed a bit like a high school play, and they could have done more to emphasize fierceness. They sounded better in unison, I feel, than they did individually a lot of the times. So just based on that, it was overall a good performance, but I feel like they could have done something to add a little bit more polish or theatricalness to it, which would have been something I'd expect from these 3 people. So for the next performance, we have the Seraphims at Ifraudao with Kenbochu Nano, Matsushita Miyu, Mizukami Limika, Akiyami Ema, and Fujimoto Ayaka. During practice, it's just kind of like random servos. Rimika, I feel like she sometimes often has some kind of standoffishness or a disconnect, maybe a bad attitude even. But not a lot of others. Not a lot of things happened with this team. Emma, she helped a lot with the sexiness training, so they decided to go for a sexiness concept and do it all in on it. But other than that, there was a part where Nakasone and Reno, the trainer here, kind of helped Nano kind of bring out fierceness in herself. And just like saying, when was the time you felt empowered? We need to see that. They get to the performance, and initially I'm thinking the outfits are kind of weird, because I thought they were going to go for kind of like a sexiness concept, or like a female killer concept. But aside from that, outfits, the dance is good. And, I kind of wonder how Nicholas Lev feels about his concept of fragility becoming a K-pop song. But overall, it was a good performance. Miu and Emma, in my opinion, were the strongest. But everyone else was really not bad either. I was surprised that Emma got fourth in the final ranking, and something kind of felt weird about that. But at the same time, it is kind of a popularity contest as well. And so last week, I felt like the audience voted on point. But this week, maybe not so much. That it has also to do with the popularity of other people, and so that's anti-fragile. And so the next team, with Kazara Momona, Nakuro Kokona, Kamio Ayano, and Sakadaya Kotele, getting Blackpink's shut down. It seemed like all the girls in this team were kind of intimidated by Momona, and they should be because they've been like number one for a while. And in terms of this team, they were mostly struggling. Rano on lyrics. Kind of 390, the coach was wondering why he didn't change the Blackpink lyrics enough. He challenged Ayano to do it properly, and she ended up doing it thoroughly. And then Charmina shows up. And I was kind of surprised that Charmina was just generically supporting every other yes rapper, showing up for their stuff. But, it's funny how Kokona had a light stick for her, and then all the other girls were just lined up in more of the hall just watching the session. And like, Kokona, it seemed like was kind of arguing with Mamona here about trying to avoid the dancing. Mainly, I feel like maybe she was low confident in her ability to focus on the rock if she already focused on the dance. But in the end, everything just turned out okay. I guess the last thing that happened is that Ken the 390 basically just asked Kokona to work more on ad-libs, and she was kind of, I think, flashy, but also just feeling down in general until the final performance. But when it came to the final performance, Kokona was the MVP of this team, in my opinion. She did a really good job, and Kotane also did okay. She was a little bit shaky, but she looked more comfortable as it sort of went on. And then Momona was okay, but I just kind of felt like there was a part of her that was out of place next to the others. It sort of seemed like she was a stand-in, that not really there with the team. And I don't know what that reasoning is. Like, is she not gel with them emotionally, or is it just her presence that's just on a better level back to the other ones? But then there was a final ranking, and Momona got first. And I kind of disagree with that, to be honest. I didn't think that she would get first. I thought at the most she would get the third. And because it just felt like she was kind of just doing her performance, but it didn't really feel like she was giving it everything. I just didn't really get that vibe from her. And so the next team after these guys is the team that's doing Omikage. With Turtle Kokoro, Hatamena, Tadabatake, Momota, and Sakuraba Haruta. Though it came to this team, behind the scenes, it seemed like Kokoro was carrying the team with regards to figuring out the arrangement. Everything in this team seemed to be going smoothly up until there was this incident where Momoka kind of expressed that she wanted to work, and she was kind of stuck in this team. But besides that, there was just an issue with Haruka having to learn to sing confidently. That ultimately, this team's practice was not so much about drama or even like just like shaky things, but basically refining the performance, which made it a joy to really watch this group behind the scenes. When you get to their performance, this was an interesting team because they had very colorful voices from the very start. And Haruka had a really nice bright voice, and it was really nice. They actually enjoyed it a lot. Mocha's voice is nice too. She had just like that cool, collective vibe there. And, I can see after hearing what Kokoro did, I can see that she had a dilemma between having to do the notes well, but also sincerely expressing the energy and upbeatness of the song and just giving off channeling the vibe of the song sincerely. And, she was mastering practice. Yeah, and she was willing to make that trade-off, and I think in the end she did. And I feel like it was better off because, this script was colorful in the way they delivered it. And, they could have done it kind of decently and kind of pulled back a little bit vocally, but you wouldn't get as excited about it. And then it would have been kind of a nonsense performance. But because they kind of went all out, and even though like it was kind of off at some points, the excitement was there, and I feel like the ranking is fair as well. So the next team flies doing rocket here with Ishii Ram, Yamamoto Suzu, Aita Rin, Kitazoto Ryo, Seto Sakura, Yoshida Hana, and Nakamori Kotane. In practice, Yumeki basically said that the Huns felt empty because the individuals weren't studied out enough. And then Suzu had some kind of personal drama, but I'm not really sure. But it was really about everyone basically just put on the practice, and they improved by the second evaluation, and it was kind of there's nothing really crazy happening. They just got better. The actual performance, they had a strong start, high energy, high intensity. That Rayon was the MVP, obviously. It was good overall with no issues, absolutely. The only thing I'll say is to elevate it is that I felt like Lin and culturally was basically blackface, and Lin was kind of just smiling sometimes. But I feel like they could have expressed more with regards to the intensity of the solo, like everyone else was saying. But I guess they had to do it in their own flavor. And then I was surprised a little bit by the rankings, that otherwise it was okay. The next team was the final team. It's the First Love, Itada Hikaru, and Team Final Love with Sasuke, Kokona, Takumi, Ayane, Ame, Nagomi, and Sakaguchi Reno. Though here, I feel like Kokona wanted to showcase some skill, but couldn't really speak up properly during deliberations because up against Reno and Lenny, it was kind of like being freezed out by just like being intimidated by their knowledge of like how to arrange the songs and everything. So she kind of just held back a little bit. Flynn, there was a funny moment when Goma asked if they were heartbroken, and all the chat was laughing about that part. And then another thing happened in Tartus was that you could hear that Coconut actually has a really nice voice. And even if she's not as well trained as the others, she actually had the best sounding voice. And then in the final performance, Ayane starts off flawlessly, and it's a very good performance overall. I kind of hope that they won't psych out Nagomi and Coconut too much about their expressions. But then at the same time, I noticed that when they were on stage, I feel like that struggle with the expressions kind of conveyed a bit of pain in the song, which you wouldn't kind of expect. But it kind of worked for them. And so in the end, it was fairly good. The voting in the end didn't really make sense to me, but whatever. And then we get to winners and ranks, and Boboka gets number one in vocal, Keiko gets number one in the rap, and then Ram gets number one in dancing, because Ram beat Joe, and which is a team that did 13 did Venman ended up getting 0 points across the board. And I think like final votes can still compensate for it in the end, because these are just rankings based on evaluations, but not having to do with audience votes. Then there's just some filler about Myers Briggs, and that's basically the end of the episode. So yeah, that is all 6 of the remaining performances for the position levels. So in terms of my favorite, I feel like the First Love is probably my favorite. Just because I felt like the most emotion from them. And in terms of Kalam beating Joa, I feel like it was deserved. I noticed throughout very good performance, and she was really giving a lot. Joa's performance was last week, so it kind of lost from my memory, but she didn't do very bad either. Maybe it could have been just up there, really, in the end, and the votes are just maybe part of the popularity contest. Like I said last week, that the votes were all on point. While it's this week, it was kind of more up in the air. And so, I'm not sure if I feel back getting with the votes this week. But it seemed like audience was perfectly capable of doing a good job of rating them the last time. For some reason, this week, it just kind of like, it almost everything fell off after Soccer and Mia's team went up and left the on a not so good performance. And so I guess that's it. That's all the time we have for this week. Yeah, hopefully Darian's voice gets better and he comes back. And I feel like it will happen probably in a couple of days. But right now, no flavor in as tasting. Random coughs moved from a dry throat in the throat to the kind of itchy cough in the lungs. So I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let us know why in the comment box down below. And also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so we can see you in the next video.